is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. We have another dope episode for you guys today. It is going to be a multi-day mission over here. It's going to be maybe 1 or 2 episodes rolled out of this trip. We are doing primitive pole spearing over here. I either go Hawaiian sling or pole spear, but today I'm going to stick with the Headhunter Nomad pole spear. So you guys get to see what this spear looks like in action, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we land some big fish. We got a wrecking crew with us today. We got Nikki, Sydney, Matt, my dad, and Quinn. And this is gonna be a great trip. We're gonna do a lot of cooking, a lot of catching, and I'm pumped I get to take you guys with me. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys out there in the water. As we were driving, we came across some structure, and it was clear enough so we could see it from the boat, and we had no idea what was in store for this spot. So we dove in, and I actually decided to rock the Hawaiian sling, and I usually like rocking it when it's shallow, probably less than 30 feet, and that's what I'm doing on this dive. I threw a throw flasher. A mutton was off in the distance, and I knew it was a decent sized one, so I made my way to the bottom, started doing some grunting. Didn't want to really, pursue the mutton. I kind of just acted like I was interested in that throw flasher and hoping that the mutton would come close enough so that I could get a shot. Now once I hit the bottom, I tossed up some sand, hoping that would intrigue his interest, and sure enough it does. He kind of is a little standoffish, doesn't really give me a great shot, but I take the shot that I have. It's a good enough shot, and it's a good solid holding shot. So now when you're shooting these Hawaiian slings, you don't want to just swim over and grab the shaft. I'm just I know the shot is going to hold, so I'm just letting the sling shaft tire the mutton down until we can get another shot in him. So now Matt goes ahead and makes a drop on the mutton, and he does a perfect job of seeing that, okay, the spear's in, but I'm going to go ahead and put another backup shot. He does that with his pole spear, and we get him to the surface. First fish in the boat, pretty stoked on it.
Smaller than I thought. Yeah. What do you think? I'll chum him. Oh, gutter. I mean, yeah, I got a mutton. Yeah, this is a good mutton. I'm gonna gut this guy, so they'll probably come around.
It's not a stud, but it's like perfect whole cooking size, and that's what I do. Once I realize it's a whole cooker, I'll scale it, gut it, rip the gills out, and then you have like just this empty cavity, and you stuff that with some veggies, and you can eat the skin on these things, and it's really good, healthy omegas, and you don't have to fillet this fish. It's ready to go. So we're just gonna throw it in the cooler, and we're probably gonna whole cook this when we get back. Also, kind of a cool feat. I love shooting muttons on Hawaiian sling. Not the easiest thing to do, but this guy was, he came in close enough and gave him the shaft. Matt put the backup shot at him, and that's all she wrote. So we're gonna be eating good tonight, at least have some whole cooked mutton. From this point on, we are going to be diving some deeper stuff. Now, Quinn goes ahead and goes down and shoots a stud mangrove to start the trip.
Stud mangs. Oh, wow. Thing's huge.
Now, shortly after, Nikki goes ahead and makes a drop on a nice hogfish, and you can see that she can really close the gap on these hogs. They're notorious for giving you easy shots, and she lands a solid holding shot, letting that slip tip do its work, stick into the fish, make a good holding shot, and I'm pretty sure she almost stoned this thing.
All right, another one for the box. Good work.
Oh yeah.
Good work, Nikki.
Thank you. Not bad.
Nope.
We keep diving, and now we're just putting some fish in the boat. These mackerel come in. I land a good shot, and you can see I'm rocking that Nomad Headhunter pole spear. The thing just works so well over here in the Bahamas, and I highly suggest if you decide to rock a pole spear, stick with the Nomad. The thing is an absolute beast. So it's still early in the day, and I know I want to get some hogfish for some ceviche, so we'll have some for lunch. And now I'm making a drop on some reefy rock stuff, and you can see all this kind of stuff from Google Earth. If you see some structure out there, some discoloration in the water, and that's exactly what this is. The water's so clear over there, you can really get a good perspective from Google Earth. Now, I end up dropping to about 85 to get this guy. He kind of was giving me the tail wag. I was kind of doing a little bit of grunting, hoping to pull him in, and I ended up getting a decent shot on him. Not a bad fish to throw into the ceviche bowl, and we got some lunch at least. Now the day's winding down and we start diving some seriously deep stuff. This is some rock ledge in about, I'd say about 70 feet. I see all this stirred up bottom and I know something came into this area. And I checked the hole first, saw that there was nothing in there, and now I see some cuberas off in the distance. That kind of explains to me why this area was all churned up. These snapper are getting all fired up. Now I'm trying to get that cubera to come in, but unfortunately these guys are really tough to land. But with all that grunting and that noise and that scratching I was doing, it ended up bringing in a dog snapper. Now a really big dog snapper. You see me load my spear up, you can see the dog snapper off in the distance. I'm hoping he just comes over this ridge, but I'm running out of time, running out of air. I got a little impatient. I could have just waited there a little bit longer. He was on his way up, but he ended up turning around. He gives me a shot and he just dodges it, and that's what these things sometimes do. And it's not the first time, and it's definitely not the last time these snapper kind of turn the other direction and barely miss getting speared. So here's another drop of me doing, basically pursuing the same exact type of fish. You can see the dog snapper off in the distance. Now there's dog snapper, there's cubera, and on this drop I think I go to about 75 by the end of the dive. That's how deep I go. But out of all these fish, I want to get after that big dog snapper. They're delicious. I lined up and same thing, I just wasn't quite close enough. I stuck them, but it just wasn't enough to hold the fish. But I still had some breath left. I saw those cuberas weren't super spooked, and this guy kind of comes in. I do a little grunting, and I'm just basically aiming for the gill plate, hoping for a good shot. And same thing, he almost dodged the spear. You could see him kind of veer off, and I was aiming for his gill plate and ended up hitting him in the tail. So that just goes to show how quick these guys are, and these snapper can like turn on a dime. And but luckily, I was aiming far enough forward that I was able to get a holding shot right in the tail area. And luckily it wasn't a huge fish, but a perfect size eating cubera. Pretty stoked on this. My only cubera of the trip.
Huh? Huh? I hit him, but it pulled out. Big dog. There was 2 cuberas and 2 dogs. And dude, dive right now. There's so many dogs and cuberas down there. Yeah, it's loaded.
Shortly after I came up, Quinn went ahead and shot a dog snapper, and he starts gutting it, and it brings in a school of nice looking yellow jacks. And I do what I do best with these things. I just absolutely roll them. Now you can see where I'm aiming whenever I spear these guys. You just got to aim right behind the eye in that lateral line part of them, and you have a high chance of stoning or at least spining these fish, making it easier to land them.
Stony yellow jack. There you go. Stone.
I'm going to play this whole clip from the beginning of the dive to the end. You can see me make my descent, and now I don't really see anything except for a ton of sharks off in the sand. And what I was going to do was, my whole strategy behind making this drop, I know it's deep, it ends up being 90 feet to the sand, but that was my goal. I was going to go ahead and go down to the sand, toss up a little sand, and usually there's hogfish and snapper that hang around the edge, and right there I spot a big male hogfish off in the sand. And when you can spot a hogfish at depth like that, you know they got some size to them. So I go ahead, keep descending, making my drop, kind of veering my body towards the path of that hogfish, and now I know that there's sharks en route. Like they're coming kind of towards me. I'm looking behind me. I'm checking on them, and I think to myself, I have to stone this fish, and so I'm not going to take a dumb shot. Stone shots only. And I absolutely roll this guy, and you see those sharks coming in hot. If I did not roll him, he was 100% gonna get sharked, or there was gonna be some sketchy situation. But I made sure I had a good stone shot on him. Landed him, brought him right to myself, and this could have gone the complete opposite way. But you see how fired up those sharks were at the bottom once they knew something kind of, you know, just got injured or just got hurt. And now this shark kind of comes up to me, but I just make sure I'm ascending nice and chill, not like kicking super hard. And that's how you are able to spearfish around these sharks, as long as you're not thrashing and creating a lot of commotion in the water. So I was really amped up on this dive. It was pretty awesome.
I know I had to stone.
Dude, there was fucking two sharks charging at you at once.
I know.
Right as you're lining up on.
I know, I saw it.
Am I filming?
No.
Film me. Stud.
It's okay. I was about to not shoot. Yeah.
This is my last dive of the day. Now, I'm gonna do it just like I did in that previous video. I'm gonna roll it right from the beginning. I'm gonna give you a little backstory on what's happening. We're probably in about 70 to 80 feet, and there's this bottom that is like straight Swiss cheese. It's like caves everywhere, and this is perfect territory for grouper. And Quinn actually saw a couple of grouper go into these holes. So he made a drop on him, didn't see him, so I decided to make a drop, and now I'm going down to checking the cracks, and if you listen very faintly, you can hear Quinn grunting and yelling at the surface. So I know something's up. I look at him, and he points over in this direction, and right there I see a black grouper off in the sand, just kind of chilling there, staring my direction. Now, I don't want to just charge him, so I put the reef between myself and the grouper, and I just sneak over the edge. Sure enough, there's another grouper with him, but this is my target. I landed a perfect shot right in the face, and I have enough air to try to land this fish, and he's trying to get out of this hole. I know he's stuck good, and now I'm trying to get him. But if you hear that, that was Quinn screaming from the surface. There were sharks literally like on my neck, and they came out of nowhere. I didn't see any sharks beforehand, but that's kind of what you have. It's what you get over here in the Bahamas. Sometimes these sharks get super fired up, and luckily, you know, you have buddy divers that can, you know, alert you just by yelling at the surface, and you can actually hear it from that kind of depth.
I'm good. Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Let's go.
He's in this hole. We
can get him.
I almost got him out.
I know, but dude, did you see those sharks over your head?
Yeah, I did.
Holy crap. Get the fish. Another person should drop two and watch the
You should
shark.
have two drops, one on sling.
So like you can get him out. If you just follow the spear, he's under and he's trying to come out the hole on the top. If you just go from the spear and just pull him down and out, yeah.
Okay.
What you're seeing here is Sydney's GoPro. She handed off her spear. She went ahead and made a dive in, which I really appreciate. And any diver that makes a long dive, you want to get down there and take care of the fish, take care of business, but you also don't want to rush it. You have to have some surface time. So luckily, she volunteered to go down, kind of do a retrieval mission, and you will see exactly what she finds. And then whenever she finds it, I'll go ahead and explain exactly what happened in the boat.
Here, what happened?
Dude, that sucks. So freaking made a drop on a black. There were like a ton of them, and I lined up a shot. I kind of hung around the reef, went over the reef, and he was right there. There were two of them the same size, and the one I initially was going after, one of them spooked and the other one stayed there, and I rocked him. I absolutely rocked him, like right through the gill plate in the face.
And Quinn, what happened after I shot him? What happened after I shot him?
That fish booked it straight into a cave. That pole spear was probably bent almost 90 degrees. I mean, it looked like the perfect shot. Like I was celebrating, and as soon as that thing goes in, Jack tries to get it on one dive, and 3 sharks are literally right on top of his head, just like, oh my God, the stress levels.
Dude, I don't know what happened. I don't know how that happened. Those sharks came out of nowhere. But no, that sucks because Sydney made a dive on him right after, because I saw where he was like trying to come out of this hole. It's like, dude, I got him good. And Sydney made a dive, pulled my spear out with nothing on it. I was like, how in the world? And I didn't see him go anywhere or anything, but he's gone. And the sharks are so fired up. I think we're just gonna call it. So that was the last dive. Depressing. All right, we're on the island and done diving. Time to clean some conch. And then we're gonna send it back to the Airbnb.
Show them my strawberry grouper.
Oh yeah, let's check this thing out. Did you get that sucker on GoPro?
Flex the strawberry grouper.
Look at that.
Flex it.
That thing is a big one.
Yeah.
How'd you kill him?
You know, threw my flasher down, and little guy unfortunately swam in, and I just, you know, obliterated him with my pole spear.
Did he actually?
Yeah, he came into it on a flasher. Yeah.
I've seen him do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty aggressive.
Had to.
We were here filleting at some remote island, and we were filleting, cleaning conch, and dude, these stingrays and sharks just came in hot. I just sent up the drone. I'll let you take a look at that. It's pretty insane. All right, you guys, we're heading back to the Airbnb. Hopefully we can do a day 2 and it'll be on another episode. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, comment below if you have any questions, give this video a thumbs up, and like always guys, I will see you next week for another adventure. Later.